You can actually, ski this. This is frozen like death.
Yeah.
Okay, you will fly into the trees. Okay, like I almost did this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, when you make that, you make that corner.
It's just that this wasn't groomed, right?
No, it's groomed.
Oh, it is.
This is groomed.
Oh, okay.
It
was just warm.
But it's groomed.
It's just warm.
So you can edge it. I had, from here on out was actually okay.
And do you know what they did?
It's fast, it's hard, but it's edgeable.
Do you know what they did on Perry?
I don't know. I have not been over there yet, sir.
I imagine it's groomed though.
Let's just do this.
Let's do this.
This is going to be interesting.
Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com.
I'm Bob. How's it going?
Bob and I are here again in the studio to talk about another 2021 ski. Pretty exciting ski, brand new line from Dynastar.
Yep.
So in the past few years, we've talked a lot about the Dynastar Legend collection. That's kind of been their all-mountain series. Dynastar's Sham skis were very popular. Gosh, how many years ago now? 5 years ago?
More than that.
7?
Yeah.
And it's been really cool to see this kind of development within the Dynastar's
Right.
line. Dynastar is one of the companies that kind of introduced some of the first skis with like really drastic 5-point side cut or early taper.
Yeah.
And there's still some of that in this new ski. But just really cool to see that development happen
Right.
over the years. This is the brand new M Pro 99 from Dynastar. So their line's like pretty much entirely revamped for this
Right.
2021 season.
Yeah, between the Pro and then the M Free series, which is the more free ride.
Yeah, and then M
oriented.
Tour too.
Yep.
Basically just this ski, but taking some materials out of it. So really cool to see. We've been testing them for a while now. We saw them for the first time, early January.
Yeah.
You got to ski them back in early January while I was still healing from broken clavicle. Spent a lot of time on this M Pro 99. There's also an M Free 108 over there in the corner.
Yep.
That thing's pretty
That
cool
thing's
too.
pretty good. Yeah,
We'll
that's
definitely
pretty
have a
awesome.
review of that as well. As you might guess, the Pro collection is kind of designed more for, call it all mountain versatility, where the Free line is more free ride
Sure.
oriented, so to speak, wider. At least the one that we're getting for next year is wider than what we're seeing in the M Pro line. But that's enough of the kind of just general what's happening with Dynastar. Bob, tell us about this new ski.
Pretty cool build. So they got a 90, 99, and a 105. And the 105 is kind of like the old Pro Rider of years past. Interesting thing about here is they got a poplar wood core. And they are using what they call their hybrid core. So the old Legends had like their power drive, I think it was called, and they're basically like making wider sidewalls. So that sidewall material, that ABS material, kind of extended into the ski.
It's kind of mimicked in the top sheet graphic.
Yeah, you can see it a little bit in there with that black outline.
Yeah.
But basically that's all polyurethane, which is about a plastic on a 120 stiffness alpine boot.
Yep.
So the core is narrower through the center, and then they sandwich this polyurethane material on the outside.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
so it's all about damping vibrations.
Yep.
In terms of that core.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing all the different techniques for doing that in skis right now. Some companies are using rubber. Solomon, we just talked about recently, using the flax and stuff like that. There's all sorts of different ways to do it, and it's really interesting to see the different materials and the different construction techniques.
And then seeing if it works. It's like, you hear about this stuff and it's like, oh, great, but, how's it going to go? And then on the top there, on that, you can probably see that cut out there. Rocket frame, metal, Titanal plate there.
It does look like a NASA rocket, I don't know. What was the rocket that we used to go to the moon?
Those Apollo rockets. It's kind of shaped like that.
Pretty much shaped like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so thin, it ends here, kind of where the rocker's going to start.
Yeah, and then wider and longer, too, in the tail.
Yep, and then full width underfoot. So you got this, and we see it a lot with these skis, too, kind of like we just did with the Stance 96 review. Them putting these metal plates in, but not a full metal plate.
Yeah, partial metal laminates has become a pretty popular new technique, and this is this is cool to see because it's unique from all of those. You know, it kind of reminds me, I guess it reminds me most of the Rustlers. A little bit of Mindbender in here, too.
It's like opposite Mindbender, really.
Right, it's more like a I-beam that we talked about with the disruptions, but still different because it's shorter, and then how it's, there's more of it in the tail than there is in the tip is a little bit different than what we're seeing from a lot of companies, like opposite Mindbender. You called this thing reverse mullet.
Yeah.
You know, party in the front, business in the back, and I think that's a cool way to think about it.
We described the Navigator series that
from
like
Nordica,
that as well,
right?
The Nordicas,
which had a similar concept. You know, the tail was designed to complete a turn. The tip was designed with more rocker. Those skis still exist too, if you're interested in those skis.
Yeah.
What else, Bob? Anything else going on here?
In terms of the build, that's about it.
Yep.
You know, 20. I think this is a
22.
meter.
22.
That's a 22.
186. Yep.
Yeah. That's you know, pretty straight for today's kind of that all mountain standards, and I feel like it's kind of going back there. It allows you to vary your turn shape up a little bit, which I think people are starting to.
Yeah, those shams and the legends, they typically had shorter turn radius, which has a lot to do with the progression of the shaping of these skis. You know, technically rocker, camber rocker, which we're pretty much accustomed to seeing in the upper 90 waist width category, with some exceptions, of course. But it's cool to see. You know, I call this, to me, this is like a javelin tip shape.
Yeah.
It's not particularly pronounced early taper. It's not 5-point side cut by any means, but there's still a little bit of that pointy javelin shape that we're used to seeing from Dynastar. And I think that, you know, obviously that went a long way in helping to extend that turn radius.
Yeah. And that's fun in softer snow where you really kind of just want to let it go. So and especially in the front, like you were saying with that party, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Is you get to let that thing go.
Yeah, so you got to ski this thing on it was like the beginning of a 40-inch storm cycle. Right. But there was probably already 8 inches on the ground or so.
Right.
So let's start there. What did you think of it in soft snow? Because that's always been a focus of Dynastar's skis in this width range, and you know, that's something that we've known and expected from a company like Dynastar. So what do you think?
Well, on that day, you and Allie were both on wider skis than
I was on that 108.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about another day.
And Allie was, you know, noting that she was, you know, feeling the snow was heavy.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that feeling in this 99. You know, I felt like that thing was staying right up on top and planing it floated above its width was my powder impression.
Cool.
And just really easy to turn.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you get from this shape.
Yes.
That's like an important characteristic from this shape is it just feels buttery and smooth in soft snow.
Yeah.
You know, you never, like, you get a good amount of float from that tip.
Yeah.
I think the long rocker helps, and the fact that it's wider now.
Yeah.
You know, at the very end of the ski, it's wider than when it was really tapered.
Yeah.
But yeah, you still get that, like, super smooth, never feels catchy in soft snow.
No, not even close. And, you know, this is the longest length they make it in.
Yep.
You know, I kind of wanted a 188 or a little bit longer, but still felt pretty good in that in that length.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we said mullet, so we said business in the back, but I think you feel that business in the back more when you get on firm snow.
Yeah.
Like this tail shape, it still lets you play and release and pivot and smear in soft snow. And I think that's really important. I think it would have been weird if Dynastar kind of got rid of that capability.
Yeah, yeah.
So really good in soft snow still. I think they're not exceptionally light, but they're also not super heavy.
No, they're right in the middle there. In that 100.
I mean, I skied the 178 this morning. I've skied it a few days now, and today it reminded me that it's a relatively light ski, especially considering the power that this thing has, which you might not expect. I think that's the most surprising thing about it. And I think it's just because we've skied those shams and legends so much. What do you think about it on firm snow? I know I have my own opinions, but let's start with yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to look at it through the lens of those legends.
Yep.
Which you know, did that S-shaped turn more.
Yep.
And these you're able to let them go, and they'll hook right up. They don't bring you into the turn.
Yep.
But once you're in there, you can feel it from midfoot back really strong.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I think you skied this ski before, you definitely skied this ski before me. And I remember you saying that, and I was, like, admittedly a little bit skeptical.
Right.
Like, yeah, sure. And then when I got on them, I think it must have been Pico or maybe Waterville when I skied them for the first time, but that was kind of my first reaction, too. We were just skiing firm snow, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, these have some power to them. You know, I think Keenan has had a similar reaction.
Yeah.
And Bob wrote the review to go along with this video, and you talked about Keenan in that article. Keenan's our youngest employee. He's got to be.
He's on the young side.
He's got to
sure.
be close to our youngest employee.
Yeah.
You know, he's around 22. And I think he said something when he first saw it, like, "Hey, cool dad ski."
Yeah.
And you took some small amount of offense to that.
I mean, it's in the way he used it.
Right.
As a general term, I don't take offense.
Sure. But he was kind of like,
right.
Like that thing's not going to like
right.
handle my 6'6", 22-year-old frame.
Right.
And it did.
Yeah.
Like Keenan came flying by me on hayride, going so fast
Very
on this
fast,
ski.
Yeah.
He's clearly got a good skiing background and can make some good
Yeah.
turns. And yeah, I think he was blown away by the stability and edge grip, and that's something that we've, you know, I'll just go and say it. We've never really had that from Dynastar in this shape before.
Correct.
Or really from like many other companies in this shape before.
Yeah.
It's a really cool blend of maneuverability and soft snow, and then just like pure
Right.
just power, which is impressive because it's not that full sheet of metal.
Correct.
And I think the way that metal is shaped and placed, it does change the ski's dynamics a little bit. Like you said, it doesn't pull you into a turn, and it's like if you are willing and able and trust yourself, and if you get into a turn and just drop your hip to the snow, the tail of this thing rips.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a lot of power out of it, and you can make like really cool, round, powerful turns. But like you were saying, it doesn't bring you into the turn automatically.
Right.
Like you have to give it some skier input, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Like there was, you know, when I skied with Harrison this morning and we did a little extra filming, and on the chairlift, I was like, this is a real skier's ski.
Yes.
You know, it's not like trying to make things. It is easy to ski, but if you want to like do GS turns on it, you need to ski it. Yeah. It's not like automatically making GS turns, but I like that about it.
Right. I think you're supposed to do some of the work out there.
Yeah, and it allows for a lot of versatility,
Yeah.
which is the point of a ski
Right.
like this. You know, it's not like, oh, we're on firm snow now. Okay, let's link mid-radius carving turns.
Right.
It'll do that, but you have to tell the ski,
Right.
let's do that now. But I had a blast. Like, we had some of the strangest conditions I've ever skied this morning. It rained a lot 2 days ago and then froze overnight twice. And they groomed nosedive last night, but there were like boulder-sized ice chunks all over the place, which meant that there were like
Holes.
divots and
Yeah.
holes in the snow. But we saw ski patrol at the top of the run, and they were like, no, it's fine, it's edgeable, like we skied it already. And I was like, okay. That's the footage that starts this video, was us kind of talking to ski patrol before that run. And I was like, okay. And luckily I already had enough confidence and trust in this ski that I just let it run. And it was pretty amazing, just the ski's ability to ski through that stuff, and it didn't freak me out because I never felt locked into a turn. Or if I had been on another brand ski in this width range with more metal, with wider tips and tails, it would have been a little worrisome.
Right.
Because it's just like if I get going too fast and get locked into a turn and then get bucked by a little bump in the snow, it's not going to be fun.
Right.
But felt perfectly confident on these and very comfortable. And
Yeah. I think we've both been pretty surprised with this ski, just kind of, you know, not knowing much about it.
Yeah,
and
no, totally.
Not, you know, they're not putting in a new line like Salomon did with the Stance. They're evolving the Legend line.
Yeah.
And so it's not something that they've never had before, but we both, I feel like, really enjoy just the overall nature of this ski.
Yeah. In my opinion, it's taking what they already had and just taking it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And it's just it feels better, performs better, looks better. Graphics on this thing are sweet.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the M Pro 99 from Dynastar. Big thanks to Billy Levens for dropping them off and then dropping them off again and then dropping them off again and giving us some time to test them and film them and really get a sense of what they're like. It was really valuable for me, and I think it was for you too.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully for you guys as well. Definitely a new contender in that around 100 one ski quiver category, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to think about this ski as a potential one ski quiver.
Yeah.
Or as you said in a recent article, if you want to buy more skis than one pair, certainly don't hesitate to do so. But yeah, that's it. We're going to keep testing skis. Alpine test is less than 2 weeks away, which is exciting. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the slopes.
Bye.